Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another game theory video. Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel. I appreciate it. Thanks. If the boner is blown out of your butthole, super thanks. Whatever, you get the idea. So today, I want you to think about. Of course, we're going to talk shit about Alpha 2, and we're going to use Alpha 1 as one of the examples, just because I think it's funny to show that Alpha 1 is somehow better designed as usual. But I want you to think about moves having more than one function. Again, homogenization. Moves serving more than one purpose. And I want you to remember those comments from the Alpha 2 guys trying to say that custom combos are not a win condition in Alpha 2. They're not that important. Oh my God. Okay, well, I want you to think about this. So let's look at a game at first like Super Turbo. First supers in Street Fighter ever, right? Why did people hate supers, right? You know what I mean? Oh, of course, think about fuck neutral, skip neutral kind of things. Keep that in mind as well, right? So why did people hate supers in Super Turbo, right? Well, let's watch this for a little bit. We have a character like Chun-Li, right? She stored her super, right? Oh, I have a stand medium punch, which you can't duck, which again, in old school Street Fighter is a little bit more rare to have moves that you can't crouch and duck, right? I can harass you with this. If I'm close enough, I'm going to throw you. And because I stored my super, if you try to attack, I did a big super and I hurt you, right? That can be pretty frustrating, right? For a super to have such an influence on the match, right? You know, and of course not every super is Chun-Li. Not every character can like store their super, whatever like that, right? But, you know, generally speaking, supers are pretty powerful in the game. However, the funny thing about supers in the game is that even as powerful as supers are, some people still pick just the super version of the character with no supers, right? So it's not a win condition. You don't actually have to pick the super, which is kind of crazy, right? So let's get to a game like Alpha 1, right? Maybe people thought supers were too powerful in Super Turbo, right? People complained about that. But let's look at some supers in Alpha 1, which is kind of interesting, right? So Alpha 1 supers started having supers that were unblockable at around a range where you might be playing neutral, quotation marks, or footsies, right? Of course, neutral can exist at many ranges, actually, if you think about it, right? But so let's say that so we're going to do a super right here. At this range right here, I can't block the super fireball if I'm not already blocking before. Now that might be pretty frustrating if you think about it, but if you see, I have already recovered before the other character, right? And what I'm going to show you is that a lot of supers actually, although seemingly very powerful in Alpha 1 at level 1, you know what I mean? The game designers actually did put in distinct weaknesses for these moves, despite them having strengths, right? Their versatility is not the full package, let's say, right? So again, I recovered before him, right? Now let's look at a super, say like Ryu's Super Hurricane Kick, right? Ryu's Super Hurricane Kick now is not fast. It is one of the few supers in the game that if you're not blocking before the super flash, you can block, right? So because of this, you can actually counter it right after. You can DP, right? So the move has like a pretty obvious strength and weakness. Supers are kind of like designed here that this move does this. This is your move for this. This is your move for this. It's not a fully versatile move, right? I can't Super Hurricane Kick you, you know what I mean? And I can't be like, oh, it can't be multiple function. Like, oh, well, if he was blocking, now I just get 13 hits of block damage whatsoever, right? You know what I mean? So we have the Super Fireball, which is fast. You can't block it, but I'm actually punishable if I only have the level 1, right? You know what I mean? And I have my safe super, but I'm not actually safe if the guy is actually quick, right? Let's look at an example like Ken, right? Talking about the design of this game, right? We have a character like Ken, right? He has the Shinryuken, and he has the Shinryuken is the block damage super. Shoryurepa is your kind of fast moving forward super, right? So at level 1, what you might not know if you actually play this game is it's actually not a true combo, right? So watch this. If Ken were to do this, and of course I could have put him at a different range to see that it's unblockable from that sort of like footsie range, let's say, but guess what? I can actually DP through it. I can actually throw it. Let's look at this. So I'm going to show, and this is an example of Akuma too, right? So look at this. The move has a sort of function compared to, let's say, and just this is just to go to show the design of the game is actually pretty cool, right? So we have this level 1 super of Ken, right? That is pretty invincible, right? It's not the block damage super though, but if I'm at this neutral range whatsoever, let's just say this neutral range, where we might be playing footsies, and if I might want to scare the opponent, like, he has to be on his toes because he has to block, whatever, or get ready to block, because the super might be able to hit him. And it's also invincible enough that if the other guy were to try to guess and try to blow me out, the super would still probably win, right? Again, maybe you're not following me here yet, but Akuma's an interesting character because then Akuma, you would say, Akuma, you actually can't reversal through it. But guess what? Akuma's actually isn't invincible if you call him out on it, if you guess. So now we're going to go to Alpha 2, right? Again, Alpha 2, though, the level 1 is still the same, right? We're at this footsie range where maybe we're playing footsies, checking each other. And if I'm not blocking before the super freeze, guess what? The super is going to hit me, okay? But here's the thing about Alpha 2, right? So hopefully you've been kind of following along. We have these supers that are unique to the character before, right? But once we get to a game like Alpha 2, guess what? Well, I could do a level 1 super, but we know my level 1 super actually has a risk to it in neutral, in this footsie range. But if I do a custom combo, the custom combo is unblockable from the same range, right? So let's look at this. Let's look at this. Hopefully you're going to apply it. This is on the wiki. The people try to tell you like, oh, look how amazing custom combos are. Or how amazing Alpha 2 is, but custom combos aren't good. Custom combos play a huge part of the game. It allows you to do multiple norms, blah, 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 blah. The higher level, higher invincibility. Look at this. The blowout glitch, look at this. Custom combos, where's this sort of thing? Oh, custom combos that can blow through tick throws. They can blow through fireballs. They can pass through fireballs. They avoid anti-airs. They're useful against characters with no anti-airs. They can save yourself from chip damage and supers. They are throw escapes. They can anti-air. They air to spears. They counter another character's CC. Oh, you can run away. You can take advantage of it. Blah, blah, blah. You can fill the screen for chip damage. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so time out. Wait a second. Do you see why Alpha 2 is a terribly designed game? You're trying to tell me that people will defend Alpha 2. They will tell you that supers were too powerful in Super Turbo. They were too versatile. Even though supers, as powerful as they were in Super Turbo, they weren't even unblockable, so to speak, if you weren't blocking before the super freeze, right? Could they skip neutral, so to speak? Could they fuck footsies, you know what I mean? Of course, that's kind of annoying that, oh, I'm playing footsies in this character, you know what I mean? If you're Chun-Li at least, Chun-Li is a specific character, or in any Honda, where it could just be one button if you had charged it, right? But they have this access to a Half-Life move. It has such an influence on the match, right? But not every character even has a one-button super like that. Now, they're all powerful, so to speak, and to different varying degrees. They all have a influence on the match, potentially, right? Then we get to a game like Alpha 1. Alpha 1 adds those unblockable, if you're not blocking before the super freeze. If you're in like a footsie sort of range like that, you're checking the opponent. But guess what? Alpha 1 characters still have unique supers. They have unique uses. This is my super for this. This super is going to be a little bit better for this. Not every character has a super even for a specific situation. But the designers were smart enough to know that at level 1, we should probably put in a specific thought process that this super cannot even have its full potential versatility, right? Ryu's Super Fireball is a very good move in, say, Alpha 1, but the designers knew that at level 1, we shouldn't make this move that good. We got to give it a weakness, so it's actually punishable after Ryu hits you. Ken's level 1, you're like, You know what? It's a fast super. It's very invincible. But you know what? We got to add a weakness because at level 1, it should not be this powerful. So guess what? It's not a true combo on block. You can go through it. Now, Alpha 2, you're telling me that Alpha 1, oh, it's a terribly designed game. Super Turbo, oh, that's a terrible game with supers. All this stuff, too much of an influence on the match. But you're telling me Alpha 2 people will tell you that custom combos are not a win condition of the game. Where their very own wiki says how powerful it is. Where custom combos, every fucking character has access to, from a certain standpoint, the best move in the game, even at level 1. Isn't that weird? Every character you have given the best move in the game from a certain perspective. It functions just like all these other moves that they supposedly hate. Oh, I hate that that move is safe on block. Oh, I hate that this move, if I'm not blocking before, I get hit. Oh, I hate that this move is invincible. Oh, I hate that this move is an anti-air. It functions as every fucking thing, even at level 1. Of course, it has a tremendous influence on the match, and every character has access to it. It is a homogenized system. It is not unique. Do you get what I'm saying? And you will have people that will try to tell you that custom combos are a good mechanic while they tell you that they hate supers in Alpha 1, while they hate supers in Super Turbo and those games are badly designed? Are you kidding me? That doesn't even make sense. That's why do you see how retarded that is? Custom combos are a skip neutral thing. They are a fuck neutral thing. You know what I mean? Well, when I made that recent video and a couple people commented, although it looks like they deleted their comment. Maybe they were just commenting and they didn't watch the full video when they commented at first. The reason I gave examples like Lariat, of Zangus Lariat, because I was saying that when you see people try to defend these new mechanics, they will defend Drive Rush, Drive Impact, Slimer this, custom combos, they will defend these new mechanics. And they will say, oh, well, there's always been skip neutral moves in games before. There's always been fuck footsie moves. Look at Vega. In Super Turbo, excuse me. Just by saying that, you have put the quarter in your own ass and played yourself, because you have compared a homogenized mechanic, a mechanic that every character has access to a specific character in one single move, which automatically means that it is unique. Does it not? That's why I said, well, if that's a fuck neutral move, why can't I say a fireball is fuck neutral? Why can't I say that Geef's Lariat is fuck neutral? I mean, Geef's Lariat, there's an argument that Geef beats Ryu in Super Turbo. Yet Geef will lose to Guile in Super Turbo. So is his Lariat only a fuck neutral move in one aspect? And so I saw, again, some people, and they deleted their comment. I think so they didn't watch the full video. That's why I was saying, if you say Vega's move is a fuck neutral move, then you could say that Zangief's Lariat is a fuck neutral move. That's the kind of level of intelligence that we're degrading this conversation to. That's how loose we're using the term neutral, fuck footsies, skip neutral, right? Better you would just say that this is a part of the character's neutral. This is a part of this character's neutral. And when two neutrals combined in a synergistic effect, they create then a new neutral. A baby is born. Sort of. But these new games, every character has access to the same thing. It's not the same. The only argument that I could even see that you could make to play devil's advocate is you could say, I guess you could say something like, I don't know, I guess your theoretical argument would be, well, it can't be fuck neutral. It can't be a skip neutral move, because if we all have the same neutral, then it is inherently neutral. Haiku, Nostradamus, or Shakespeare. I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? That would be, we would have to degrade the conversation to such a low level that you would be like, well, Slimer can't be fuck neutral, skip neutral, because if we were always doing it, then it is inherently neutral. Custom combos cannot be fuck CCs. Custom combos cannot be fuck neutral. They cannot be fuck footsies, because if we are always doing it, it is inherently then thus neutral. That would be how low we would have to go for the conversation, right? But it still doesn't change the fact that people talk about, oh, you could skip neutral, you could skip footsies by doing this, and then they compare it to a single character, which will make them unique, right? And you got to remember too, I should have prefaced this with the video at the start too. Think about this, right? Just because you don't use a move does not mean the move is not effective, right? There is a fear of the move happening. Even if there is a theoretical match where you do not custom combo, if the super is there, you will be afraid of it because it has that much influence on a match. It's in the back of your head, right? Do you get what I'm saying? Let's use an extreme example just in real life. Do you remember that one fucking idiot who was one of my haters, who was talking about how he was going to beat me up, and I better be afraid if I see him in real life because he's a 6'5" black man and he's going to beat up a punk like me, or whatever the fuck that was. Do you remember that guy during the Dragon Ball Z days? And I'm like, okay, so first of all, you just threatened me. You know what I mean? On the internet, that seems kind of weird. So how about this? Are you telling me I need to have a gun near me? Now, this guy, when he heard that I had a gun, he changed his story real quick, that he was not going to beat me up in real life after writing that on the internet. There was a fear of that happening to this motherfucker. And then he's like, oh, Clayton said he has a gun and I'm afraid. It shows he's crazy. Don't pay attention that I just said I'm going to beat him up. And I told him I'm a 6'5" black man and all this kind of shit. I'm like, where the fucking, do you remember that? That's the Dragon Ball Z. So an extreme example, but think about that. Even if something doesn't happen, if it's in the back of your mind, you're like, oh shit, right? So think about just in a video game. If there's the fear of the custom combo, even if it doesn't happen, is still effective. It's in the back of your mind. It's the fucking mental stack. Do you get what I'm saying? Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.